What's crappening, y'all, and welcome to the full overwater building guide for Valheim during the Mistlands update, where I will show you how you can replicate one of these extremely safe overwater platforms to build your base on. So to kick this bitch off, you will need to have already located you a fairly small island to go ahead and renovate and build your platform on. So first, I am going to lay down a 12 by 12 meters square frame out of core wood. Now you can do this out of regular wood or core wood, it doesn't matter. Core wood just goes down faster, since you can get them in the 4-meter boards. Now we're going to use this as a layout guide to keep our structure square all the way up. Now once we have our layout finished, we are good to go ahead and start raising the ground in the corners. So by standing in the corner a little bit off of each side, being careful not to cover up the core wood snap point in the corner, because we're going to need that here in a minute, we can raise this as high as humanly possible and then rinse and repeat with the other 3 corners. Next, we're going to start by bringing the snap points up from the layout to match the height of the highest ground pillar. Now, you will only need 1 or 2 of these snap points to get yourself started up top. The biggest thing is just to make sure everything is generally supported as we go. Now, we're not going to be using this to build on, we're just using this to get our stone placed properly in the corners. Now, we're going to want to go ahead and put stone in all the corners, even with this layout. Since the max height of each pillar is different, we're going to use the stone to kind of make sure all the pillars are level with the layout. And of course, running the stone down the ground pillar as much as you want. I just usually pick 4 or 5 and then do that on every single one, so it looks the same and it doesn't look like some fucking kindergartner's project when you're done, you know what I mean? But now we can just chase these snap points all the way around and rinse and repeat. Voila! Now that we have all of our corners aligned, we're good to go ahead and remove all of this core wood and start laying down the iron border for the platform, which is pretty easy since you generally will have all the core wood already laid out, and then just adding supports down the sides into the ground for extra stability, of course. And voila! We have a full iron wood frame ready for caging to go down, which goes down extremely fast. You don't have to worry about supports in the center or anything like that, since it has such a high structural integrity. But if the cage is any darker than yellow when you get done, then I would move the supports in a little closer to each other. That way that you don't run into any problems once you've laid your stone down and you want to build your house up higher than 1 story. Because let's be honest, if you build this platform and then all you can make is a shack up here, you would be pretty disappointed. But as long as your structural integrity is good, then you're ready to start laying down stone for the actual foundation of the platform. Which I went with stone here instead of black marble. But the black marble does have the bonuses of a lot of different variations of tapers for your edges, so that's probably the way to go, like I've done with most of my other platforms. But before we jump off and get down and start working on the underside of this bad boy, we should go ahead and start the stairs from up top, just to make it easier to attach from the bottom. Of course, you'll have to fine-tune your dock height a little later on. After you have this whole thing dug out and you park a boat under here, you'll just have to see what perfect height you're going to need, because the waves do go up and down, and to get the perfect dock height is a little challenging to do in itself, if you ask me. So to make this thing deep enough to get at least a carve in here, we're going to have to mine until we can no longer stand. To get it a little deeper, you will have to time your strikes with the ebb and flow of the water as it kind of rises and falls, and then you'll be able to strike at the deepest point to get to the maximum depth that you can. And of course, this does get a little annoying, but with the right use of stamina foods and the Queen's buff, you can knock this out extremely fast. It just takes a little bit of time, and it is a little monotonous, of course. And we'll use the same rule of thumb as you would in painting here. We're not going to mine ourselves into a corner, to coin a phrase here. We're going to finish the mining by the boat or the ladder. That way we don't drown of lack of stamina or something right at the end. But now we're good to go ahead and whip a carve in there for a test. As long as you dug until you could no longer stand, then your carve should fit just fine. But of course, if you missed any spots, your boat will most certainly help you find them. And you'll spend the next few days fine-tuning your dock and the depth over here, and you could even add spikes in between 2 sides of these ground pillars, like I did on a couple of different variations, just to kind of keep the flow of stuff coming right center. If someone tried to sail in the other way, then they would run straight into spikes. So there's a few different things you could add down here. But now we have a basic dock, and platform out to sea, safe and ready to be stocked up with supplies for a new badass build. Now, I haven't decided what I'm going to stick up here. I'm thinking something Gothic contemporary. I know that doesn't make any sense, but I think I'm going to go with a watchtower, and then I'm going to do a lot of flat roofing, something very, very unique. But hey, if you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button for me and subscribe if you're not already. Both are greatly appreciated, and I'll catch you folks in the next one.